We are standing on the abandoned Pennsylvania Turnpike, about as far east as the public is currently allowed on the turnpike. Over here to our left is the old eastbound lanes, though they appear to be in worse shape than the old westbound lanes where we're standing at right now. This aerial view gives you an idea exactly where we're at, near Pump Station Road, and about 1¼ miles from the east end of the Sidling Hill Tunnel. Now, as this next aerial map will show us, there's actually 3 sections to the turnpike east of the Sidling Hill Tunnel. Between the tunnel and Pump Station Road is open to the public, that's where we're at. Between Little Egypt Road and the current turnpike will always be closed to the public. But there is a middle section between Pump Station Road and Little Egypt Road, which is currently closed to the public but should be open in the future. But the only way to get it open to the public in the future is if we fight for it. Take one last quick look around before we head east now. Now to exit, we will proceed down that funny access road that we came in on. And you can see on the right hand side there's actually access to private property from this road. Nevertheless, this little access road belonged to the Turnpike Commission, although it was never an actual exit off of the turnpike. This leads me back to the $64 million question as to when and even why this road was built in the first place. I mean, it may have been built in 1940 when the turnpike first opened, or maybe it wasn't until 1968 that it was built as a special access road after the turnpike closed this section. And now on the right we see the only access point to another section of abandoned turnpike, but we'll get back to this in a little bit. First, this left turn has put us on the old access road to the old Cove Valley Service Plaza, which served only westbound traffic on the old turnpike. To put it in other terms, the employees who worked at the Cove Valley Service Plaza from 1940 until 1968 would have gotten to and from their jobs by way of this access road parallel to the old turnpike. I should mention quickly now that the last time I was by here, back in August, the yellow gate that stops people from accessing the old service plaza was open, and I was able to continue driving all the way onto the parking lot of the old service plaza. I doubt we'll be that lucky this time, though. And well, there's the answer to that question. It looks like the yellow gate is indeed closed and locked. Or at least it's closed. Whether it's locked or not, well, we're not going to go any further than this. Like I said, when I was here back in August, that yellow gate was open. And I just kept driving right onto the old parking lot of the old Cove Valley Service Plaza. What I don't understand now is why they don't move the parking lot for this public trail to the old Cove Valley Service Plaza instead of having it on that short stretch of old turnpike. I can tell you this much, the parking lot of the old Service Plaza appears to be smoother and in a lot better shape than that old road we were parking on earlier. Well, anyway, it looks like our only choice is to back up and turn around. Looking around here as we drive on this old Service Plaza access road, you can notice that this road, even though it belonged to the Turnpike Commission, is also used as access to private property by a few people. I'd like to point out quickly that if they did move parking over to the old Service Plaza lot, well then that old mysterious access road that we took earlier to get to the old turnpike could be converted into a bike and pedestrian route only to and from Pump Station Road. As we exit eastbound here, remember the old turnpike is just to our right-hand side. Now remember, ahead at Pump Station Road, a right turn would take us back to Route 30. That's the route we came in from. But we're going to make a left turn and loop around to Little Egypt Road instead. But first, let's take another quick look at that closed entrance to another section of the old turnpike going eastbound. And now in this aerial view, we can take a quick look at this section of the turnpike, which remains closed to the public, but really should be reopened to the public. It runs about maybe 9/10 of a mile from Pump Station Road, which is marked in green, and Little Egypt Road, which is marked in red. But since we can't drive this old road, even bicyclists cannot use it, we're going to have to drive about 2.1 miles along these country roads to get to Little Egypt Road, the other side of this abandoned stretch. Okay, so now we are on Pump Station Road again, traveling northbound. And as we venture on this little cruise to see the other side of this abandoned stretch of turnpike, I want to first explain to you why it is closed to the public, or at least why I think it is closed to the public, and why it should be open to the public, and how we as the public need to fight for its opening. And I hope a lot of you out there will join me in fighting for its eventual opening to the public. And right up ahead here, we will reach the intersection with North Hess Road, which is about a half a mile north of the old turnpike. And here we will make a right-hand turn on the North Hess Road to travel east. Now we will travel a little bit under a mile on North Hess Road till we come to the intersection with Little Egypt Road. And now for the $64 million question about why this stretch of old turnpike, about 9/10 of a mile or so in length, is closed to the public. I think it's because when they were getting ready to build the bike trail along the old turnpike and separate it permanently from the turnpike, they needed a physical barrier between the bike trail and anything that would connect to the current turnpike. For instance, the western end of the bike trail of the old Pike, the Pike to Bike, is at Route 30 in Breezewood, where the bridge over Route 30 was removed, thereby permanently severing the bike trail from a section of the old turnpike that would connect with the current turnpike. Now on the eastern end, it was likewise decided to simply remove the bridge that carried the old turnpike over Pump Station Road, thereby severing the Pike to Bike from the current turnpike. However, at that time, there was still a bridge that carried Little Egypt Road over the abandoned turnpike, and therefore the Turnpike Commission vehicles had a direct route from Pump Station Road and the bridge removed there all the way to the current turnpike, about 2 miles in length. However, a few years later, this bridge that carried Little Egypt Road over the old turnpike was also removed by the Turnpike Commission and just replaced with filled dirt. Little Egypt Road is up here on our right, but first, just over here, we can see the current Pennsylvania Turnpike. And on the other side of the pike is the current Sidling Hill Service Plaza, which serves traffic going in both directions. Even though it's located directly adjacent to the westbound lanes, eastbound traffic can cross over the turnpike and go into the service plaza. If we turn to the left, we're going to see the current turnpike where the road cuts underneath the current turnpike. So we'll turn around and head south from here on Little Egypt Road, which will take us back to another crossing of the old turnpike. And now a quick note. Here by way of Little Egypt Road, it is only about a half a mile from North Hess Road to the dirt fill-in where Little Egypt Road crossed the abandoned turnpike at. The Turnpike Commission removed the bridge over the abandoned turnpike in late 2006 or early 2007, therefore permanently severing this section of the abandoned turnpike into two separate sections that do not connect with each other. Yet by the time they removed this bridge, the bridge over Pump Station Road had already been removed, therefore establishing Pump Station Road as the eastern end of the Pike to Bike. And now here we can see Little Egypt Road, which we just came down on. And now we turn to face east on the abandoned Pennsylvania Turnpike. The current turnpike is about 1 mile from us ahead. I'll talk to you some more about this section a little bit later on. But first, as we turn around here, we face west, and there's the section of the turnpike, or abandoned turnpike, between Little Egypt Road and Pump Station Road. And here's a closer look at this section of abandoned pike. And as we turn here, we can see the dirt fill-in that replaced the bridge. Notice that basketball hoop down there just to the left of the abandoned turnpike. There's one home here whose backyard empties onto this section of the old turnpike. Just the one home, though. Now with this aerial view, we can see where we are at. The red line is Little Egypt Road, the green line Pump Station Road. The yellow line is the Cove Valley Service Plaza access, and the blue line is the access to the parking we were on earlier. Now I want to point out the purple X indicates that only house that has property that actually affronts this section of the abandoned turnpike where we saw the basketball court at. And the orange X marks a wooded area that, according to the Fulton County website, belongs to the Turnpike Commission to this day, and would make a nice little park if this section of the old turnpike was only turned over to the public. Now remember, this section of the old turnpike is about 8.5, maybe 9/10 of a mile in length, and it meanders mostly through wooded area, and the Turnpike Commission has really no use for this section of the pike, as it is completely severed from the current turnpike, and the only vehicular access to it is by way of Pump Station Road, which, as we saw earlier, is too small to be used for those heavy turnpike vehicles. So really, this stretch of the old pike should be turned over to the public, and used as an extension of the bike trail. And could be done easily with a simple ramp being built from Little Egypt Road, where we're standing at now. And then the use of that closed ramp at Pump Station Road being open for bicycles and pedestrians only.